today we're going to be talking about King Air landing gear overhauls and then specifically what happens when we find problems with those. When it comes to King Air landing gear overhauls, the most common problem we're going to find is cracking, corrosion, and damage. Sometimes those are just the result of thousands of flight cycles. Other times it's problems caused by incidents or accidents, runway incursions, or just plain out delayed maintenance. No matter what caused the damage, the problem has to be addressed. That way the part can be fixed correctly and returned to a safe airworthy condition. That's where AI comes in. When we find problems, the typical approach we're going to take is how can we repair that part instead of replace that part? In about 90% of the cases, we can either choose an existing repair we already have or develop a new specialized repair that can fix that problem, whether it be corrosion, damage, cracking, whatever it'll be. And that ultimately saves time and money for the operator, and that's what they're looking for the most. Let's take a closer look on how those repairs work. Beechcraft has done a great job providing repairs in the structural repair manual that deals with corrosion and wear. But as the King Air fleet gets older, we're seeing that these repairs in the structural manual are just not handling the depth of corrosion and wear we're seeing in the fleet today. That's why we've created hundreds of repairs for landing gear that deal with these exact things, whether it be a oversized bushing repair, piston rechrome for damage, axle journals, repairs, even as far as fabricating and manufacturing parts for these aircraft. These repairs help save damaged parts that otherwise might be scrapped. And when they're scrapped, it costs the operator more money, more downtime. So we really lean on those engineered repairs to get that aircraft back up and flying, but also being sensitive to the cost and the downtime. I want to talk a little bit about what a specialized repair is. So in aviation maintenance and inspection, everything has to be backed by FAA-approved data. Most approved data comes from the OEM or manufacturers in the form of maintenance manuals, structural repair manuals, even service bulletins. But when the damage we find falls outside of that criteria found in those manuals, that's when specialized repairs really come into play to let us get that component back to an airworthy condition. For example, if we take a main landing gear apart and we find that the trunnion attach point bore is either corroded, worn, or damaged, we can develop a repair that allow us to remove metal from that area, fabricate, manufacture bushing, bring it back down to OEM tolerances, and then ultimately return that landing gear back to service. Before any repair is approved, we work really closely with the FAA and our engineering team. We do structural fatigue analysis on that part to make sure it's going to be structurally strong. We're not going to remove too much metal to cause extra fatigue to that or change the life limit of that part. And then ultimately, once we meet all those checks, that part can then be approved, that repair can be approved, and we can get it back to a safe standard. Once approved, it becomes an FAA-approved solution now that we can save that part instead of having to scrap that part. Typically, the average turn time to get a specialized repair approved is going to be anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. Those can be a little bit longer if it's a life-limited part because they have to go through an extra step with our engineering team as well as an additional step with the FAA. We're looking at things like structural fatigue analysis. Is it going to change the life limit? Is it going to diminish the integrity of that part? So these are all the things we're looking at when we're developing those repairs to get those done. When we deal with life-limited parts, one option we always have is to do what we call a one-off repair. So that allows us to take that specific aircraft serial number with, say, a problem with the main gear, and we can do a one-time approval really quickly for that specific airplane and get it approved and back in the air. That's important because most of the repair specs that we write for the engineer repair are going to be multiple use. We always try to write a multiple use repair. The downside to multiple use is they can take a little bit longer to get those approved. The upside to multiple use is fast forward to next month when we get that very same issue in off of a different airplane. Now the repair's done and we just go straight to the machine shop, straight to the repairs, get them done versus having to wait for those FAA approvals to come in. Ultimately, it just then saves the customer, the operator, so much time, so much money. When it comes to the King Air airframe, we've already got hundreds of individual repairs done, completed, approved, ready to use. That way, when you as the operator are sending that landing gear to us, we're already ready for it. When it hits the door, the repairs are standing by, ready to happen. So that's a big plus with what we've done in the King Air world to make sure that we're equipped and ready to take on your landing gear job and be able to get it from start to finish without any delays whatsoever. I want to talk a little bit about the innovation we've done at AI over the years. So in our early years, we had a couple of engineered repairs that were approved, and we realized how valuable those were not only to us, but to the operator to save time, to save money. So we stated early on that, hey, this is going to be our niche and this is going to be our wheelhouses. How can we develop as many repairs as we can to keep the operators in the sky where the airplanes belong? Fast forward to 2026, where we are now, across the board, multiple repairs, but King Air specific, we've got 50 plus individual repairs that we can have in our toolbox ready to use when you get there. Some things that kind of set us apart there is we've worked hard to streamline that process. So we have a team of engineers on staff. We've got a portfolio of designated engineers with the FAA that we can call upon depending on what the complexity is, what type of part it is. I think the biggest thing with engineered repairs is just giving a better solution to the customer, not always just saying, hey, this part's bad, we're going to replace it. Because in our world today, airplane parts are expensive. They are way too expensive and a lot of times just not justified. So that's where our engineered repairs really come into play because we can keep it economical for that operator. We know they can't be efficient at what they do if their landing gear overhaul costs them hundreds of thousands of dollars every 5 or 6 years. So those are things we work on really hard to keep that customer and crystal clear vision so we can say what matters to them, how can we get our job done, but also make it make sense for their operation. Recently, we had the nose landing gear of a King Air B300 come into us. We're having some delays, so we talk about engineered repairs, get those done. So we already have and had performed this for a long time on the nose landing gear fork of being able to replate the piston when the chrome chips. The problem now is we're dealing with lead times for actually completing that process, taking the old chrome off, replating it, getting it done. It was taking so long. What we've done in addition to that engineered repair is we developed a puller tool. So basically we can pull the tube out of the fork, be able to swap it out with one we've already previously repaired, get it back into your fork, have that approved. And now you're talking about a downtime of 10 days instead of a downtime of 30 plus days. So those are some kind of items we always look at is, yeah, great. We have that engineered repair now, but the lead time to process that is still 30 days out. How can we get better? How can we innovate? And a lot of times it's not just the engineered repair. It's also, hey, what tooling needs to go along with that engineered repair? So we were able to reduce customers' turn times that way here recently. And we're excited to keep that going. So I want to speak about really just the importance of engineered repairs, not only to us as AI and as our business has evolved, but also to the customer. Because at the end of the day, we develop these things so we can keep the operator's costs down and we can keep the downtime at a minimum. For us internally, how we've evolved with engineered repairs is now we have an engineering team. Now we have a full-blown machine shop. Once our engineers have developed repairs, it passes along in-house, and now our machinists can actually do the repairs here in-house. So it's really changed the way we operate on a daily basis. With that comes lots more processes and procedures that we have to follow because it's no longer just take the part apart, buy a new part, put it back together. It's now we're doing an engineer repair, and it adds 10 to 15 steps and traceability and documentation. So that has really forced us to get very process oriented on how we handle the approval, but once the approval is done, how it flows through our system and gets from an unrepaired condition to a repaired and certified condition. King Air has always been one of our, like we say, bread and butter items. We support a lot of the operators. In addition to that, we also support a large inventory of in-house units that we own. That way we give the customer those solutions. King Air is a great airplane, but it's getting older and older. It goes into parts of the world that other planes don't go. So we see the wear and tear with those. It's designed for that. It's robust, but it's a machine. It has problems. So the King Air is really taken off for us as far as creating repairs because it's needed. It gets used. I won't say it gets abused, but it's doing its intended purpose. So with those, we're finding all the problems, the wear, the corrosion, the cracking. So we continuously develop repairs at any given time. We've got a handful of repairs going through approval that, we thought we didn't need 6 months ago. And guess what? The problem's there. We need to revise that repair to add this piece of King Air landing gear inventory to, get a repair done on it. So one thing I want to really get out there and let the King Air operators of the world know is we live and breathe King Air and King Air repairs. We nerd out on it, if you will. So we're always looking at how can we get better, more efficient, and do those things to save those guys time, money, and downtime. I invite you guys, always feel free to reach out, contact us, talk to us. If you have a problem you think just can't get fixed, give us a call. Maybe we've dealt with it before. Maybe we can develop a solution for you. So just want to always say, hey, we're open door around here. We want to be your landing gear shop that you can trust to say, hey, I got a big problem or I got a tight deadline. Give us a shot. Give us a call. Let's talk through things and see if we can help.